first. Seven o'clock, the bewitching hour on Monday, April 1st, 2019. I call the Waverly regular meeting of the Waverly City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Here.
Bergen.
Here.
Trenkow.
Here.
Angus.
Here.
Mackenzie.
Here.
Rothy. Here. Scher.
Present.
Here. Sorry.
Pull it together.
It is April Fool's Day.
That was nice.
Now, if you would all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item is approval of the agenda. I'd entertain a motion.
I will move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor of the agenda as presented say yes.
Yes.
Agenda is approved. Guest council person.
0 for 4.
0 for 4. Over. So, let's see what happens. Next item is the proclamation. April is the Sexual Awareness Assault Month. Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Something like that. And I have a proclamation here for the city of Waverly. Whereas sexual assault affects women, children, and men of all racial, cultural, and economic backgrounds, and whereas, in addition to the immediate physical and emotional costs, sexual assault may also have associated consequences of post-traumatic stress disorder, substance abuse, depression, homelessness, eating disorders, and suicide. And whereas sexual assault is devastating not only to the survivor, but also for the family and friends of the victim or survivor. And whereas, since no one person, organization, agency, or community can eliminate sexual assault on their own, we must work together to educate our entire population about what can be done to prevent sexual assault, support victims and survivors and their families, as well as support those agencies providing services to victims and survivors. Now therefore, I, Dean Soish, Mayor of Waverly, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2019 Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and encourage all citizens to learn more about preventing sexual violence. In witness thereof, I have set my hand to this and caused the official seal of Waverly to be affixed this first day of April 2019. I'd entertain a motion proclaiming the month of April as Sexual Assault
Awareness Month.
I will move approval of a proclamation proclaiming the month of April 2019 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
April is thereby approved as Sexual Assault Awareness Month by 7-0. This is the date, time, and place for a public hearing on Ordinance 1057, an ordinance amending the water rates, charges, and minimum rates for fiscal years 2019-20 and 2020-21. I would open a public hearing, entertain any comments from anyone that wishes to speak to that. Carla, do we have any written or oral comments?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Very good, thank you. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Entertain the motion.
I will move approval of the third and final reading of Ordinance 1057, ordinance amending the water rates, charges, and minimum rates for fiscal years 2019 to 2020 and 2020 to 2021.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Bergen.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rafi. Yes. Sheriff.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Minimum charges and water rates are approved by a vote of 7-0. This is the date, time, and place for a public hearing on Ordinance 1058, an ordinance amending the sewer rates, charges, and minimum rates for fiscal years 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021. I will open the public hearing. Anyone here that wishes to speak to that? Any written comments or oral to you, Carla?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Very good, thank you. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council discussion. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of the third and final reading of Ordinance 1058, an ordinance amending the sewer rates, charges, and minimum rates for fiscal years 2019 to 2020 and 2020 to 2021.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
Sheriff.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Ordinance 1058 regarding sewer rates is approved by the council 7-0. This is the time and date and place for a public hearing on Ordinance 1059, an ordinance amending the solid waste rates, charges, and minimum rates for fiscal years 2019 to 2020 and 2020 to 2021. Also amending section 69.4, 69.5, and 69.8 of the Waverly Municipal Code to add language regarding the use of city-supplied recycling containers. Have we received any written or oral comments?
We have none, Your Honor.
Very good. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to that? Close the public hearing. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of the third and final reading of Ordinance 1059, an ordinance amending the solid waste rates, charges, and minimum rates for fiscal years 2019 through 20 and 2020 through 21, amending sections 69.4, 69.5, and 69.8 of the Waverly Municipal Code to add language regarding the use of city-supplied recycling containers.
Entertain, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded on ordinance 1059. Council discussion?
Well, I was expecting to get some comments about the city-required containers, but I have heard nary a peep. I'm a little concerned that when enforcement starts, that's when people may suddenly start being worried and upset about it, but I really haven't heard anything otherwise.
I think there are also already some that have switched over from.
I'm
some
hoping that most
some of-
people
yep.
saw the writing on the wall and have kind of made the transition.
Some of my neighbors, I think, have already made the change, and that's great.
That's good.
Any other comments, discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kangas.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
Shearer.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Ordinance 1059, amending solid waste rates and mandating city-supplied recycling containers, carried 7-0. This is the date or the time for public comments for any item not on the agenda.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Campbell, and this evening I'm here representing the Waverly Senior Center. I've put at all your locations a flyer for the 506 Cafe, which is happy to celebrate its second-year anniversary tomorrow. So we are inviting all of the public if they would like to come up. We serve between 11:30 and 1:30. The menu tomorrow is scalloped potatoes with ham, dinner roll, cabbage salad, broccoli cheese soup, and cupcakes with ice cream. Should be very, very good. The fee is only $10. We are currently just finishing up a 6-month partnership with Friends of the Family. And so this will complete our partnership with them. When we do partner with any other nonprofit organization, we split the funds equally between the two. Starting in May, June, and July, we will partner with the Waverly Lions Club. And then for August, September, and October, we are partnering with the Bremer County Historical Society. So we invite you all to come. It is got great parking, wonderful food, a beautiful atmosphere, and it's a great place to enjoy a fine meal with friends. So inviting you all to come. Thank you.
I have been to a few of those, and it is good food, and well worth the $10 investment.
Yep, service is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else have comments, things about anything not on the agenda? Consent calendar is up next. Few items. Pay request from McClure Engineering Company for the Airport Runway 29 extension 2018 for the amount of $9,983.40. Pay request from AHTS Architects for the Waverly South Riverside Park Master Plan for the amount of $1,637.25. Approve the purchase of replacement ultraviolet disinfection equipment to disinfect treated wastewater from MC2 Incorporated of Des Moines, Iowa for the quoted price of $12,866.33 plus shipping. Class E liquor license for Walmart Supercenter 1005 and the cash disbursements for February 2019. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion. Any items you wish to question or pull out? All those in favor of the consent calendar say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Consent calendar is hereby approved. Next item is Lyman Campbell will share some information regarding Agent Orange and toxic exposure. I have some things that I ran across that I would like to share with the council and the public. We're honored to be able to be part of this event for Vietnam veterans and their families. The exposure to Agent Orange containing the cancerous element called dioxin has already claimed the lives of many Vietnam veterans throughout the years and now includes their children and now their grandchildren. This is not just about Vietnam and/or Agent Orange alone. It's about all toxic exposures in all theaters of our recent wars, whether in Thailand, on Elgin Air Force Base, Guam, Puerto Rico, Texas, the Gulf, Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. The larger lesson continues to be this: the cost of war doesn't end when the guns are silent. In fact, it takes a generational toll, so we as a nation must be willing to pay the price. In recognition of those who have been exposed to Agent Orange and as many as 5 future generations who also may suffer from a number of deleterious health effects associated with toxic dioxin in Agent Orange, and in recognition that because more than 19 million gallons of herbicide was sprayed throughout South Vietnam, with Agent Orange accounting for approximately 11 million gallons, causing the United States Department of Veterans Affairs to pressure or to presume that all veterans who served in Vietnam were exposed. I turn the mic over to Lyman Campbell and Brent Steer, Brent has another severe obligations, who will share further information regarding Agent Orange and toxic exposure.
Good evening. I'm Lyman Campbell, 420 3rd Avenue Northwest in Waverly. And the town hall meeting that we're presenting or going to have on the 13th is to bring awareness to just what the mayor was speaking on, and also bring up more documented statements from the different vets that the Vietnam Vets of America can take to Washington, D.C. to use as evidence that there is a lot of veterans that are needing assistance and not being heard. And this will help get the ball rolling in this sector, and there's many more town hall meetings lined up after the one here. And it's basically, we'll have representatives from the VVA, which is Vietnam Vets of America. Also, the VA from Iowa City is sending up representatives to talk with vets, and regional out of Des Moines is sending up a counselor and also the comp and pen people that will help with the children that are affected by Agent Orange. This also is the Afghanistan and Iraq veterans that are exposed to these toxic burn pits. And it's just careless burning by the departments that have been hired by the government to rid us of all the debris that's collected on the base camp, which some days can add up to over 140 ton of debris. And this will be on the 13th, as I said, and first part of the meeting will start at 9 and goes till noon, and that will basically be a lot of veterans just giving testimonial to what they're going through or their children. And then there'll be one that starts at 1 o'clock and goes until 4 that will repeat actually the same scenario but be different veterans, because hopefully we'll get a good turnout and we'll use the whole day up. So, is there any questions that I can?
Do you want to tell them about the public being invited?
Oh, and this is definitely the first town hall meeting that's been presented as far as for the public to take part in, and there'll be representatives from different departments of the state coming, and the public can speak to them about their concerns, whether it be some of the bases that are in the states that are having these water issues now from contamination, and also their concern over the way the use of chemicals are being kind of just blatantly used in this military.
So Lyman, thanks for sharing this with us, and thank you for your service. If people want to come, can they come to just one of the 3-hour sessions and get the gist of it if they can't make the whole day?
It's actually broken up into the morning, and then after there'll be a break in between.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you pick mornings, that's fine, or afternoons.
Okay.
The veterans who are speaking here, are they mostly going to be Braemar County residents or people from all over, or what are we expecting?
Basically, Blackhawk. I've heard from the Post down in LaPorte City, and there's people coming from Mason City. So, it's kind of up in the air. I don't have a clue on
Who's gonna show
how
up.
many people are going to.
Okay.
Now, hopefully, veterans and their families will come, because I went to the town hall meeting in Marshalltown, and it was tough to sit through it and listen to some of the heartache that their children were affected by, and the denial that it had any bearing on what was used in Vietnam. And now it's definitely showing up in these Afghanistan, Iraq veterans that are coming back, and their kids are even showing signs of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions? Lyman approached me several months ago about this conference and gave me a stack of information. I've got through most of it.
It's homework.
Yeah, it's homework. And it's one of those things that I think we as the public probably did not realize the effect that had. Is, the Vietnam War was one of those things that most people think shouldn't have happened, and veterans were not treated the way they have been in recent conflicts and things. So it's good to bring this to light. There are several states that have proclaimed typically a month in the fall, October, September, maybe August at the earliest, as Vietnam Awareness Month, and so it may be something that we want to think about down the line, or write to your representatives and get it done at the state level. So,
Yeah, we are selling T-shirts for not profit, just enough money to buy new T-shirts back, because once this town hall meeting's over, it's not over as far as awareness. This started in D.C. in 2009, and it's taken this long to really get it to excel into where it's at right now. And they feel like and that's what the Vietnam Vets of America do, is come to these at their own expense and speak, get the veterans to give testimonial, and then use that information to go back to Washington and try and get some more leverage as far as answers and help for the veterans that need it.
So Lyman, if we wanted to read about it beforehand, is the Vietnam Vets of America website a good place to find reliable information, or do you have a recommendation?
As far as what would you like to...
Just maybe a summary of what people have experienced medically from it, with some sound information about the problem.
I have quite a bit of information.
But yes, on the Vietnam Veterans of America site, that's who sends you the updates all the time.
Oh, okay.
I'm the secretary.
So, gotcha. Okay, so that's a good place to get a nice
This would be
summary.
the person, because what is it, just about every day.
Every day there's updates that come, and it's not just about Vietnam vets, but also
Right.
Iraq and Afghanistan and the different things that are happening that they are doing. Maynard Kaserlich is the gentleman who will be coming and facilitating this, and he is the chair of the Committee on Agent Orange Dioxin, and also a Vietnam veteran. He's a Navy vet. And so talking about it firsthand and how it's affected him and his family. So, yeah, but that's the way to go, and they'll have terrific information there. And the Vietnam Veterans of America, although Vietnam Veterans of America is their name, they reach out to all veterans. They do not discriminate on which war or conflict that anybody has served in.
Thank you.
Lyman, you mentioned the event in Marshalltown. Are these taking place all over Iowa? And if so, how many are there?
Well, it's actually up to the individual Veterans Affairs offices to get the ball rolling, and more or less last May, when I came back from that in April, I brought it up to Neil, and he said, well, if you want to go with it, go ahead and start doing what you want, and this is pretty much where I ended up at. So, yeah, there was probably, talking with Kevin Dill prior to his illness and stuff, they were thinking that Blackhawk might go ahead and put one on too, because we'll not be able to cover all the people that are in that county and surrounding areas. And it would probably overfill the building if we accomplish that. So yeah, there's more,
Nationwide.
yeah, they're headed out to about 3 or 4 different places, all the way to Oregon, down to New Orleans, and wherever they want him to go, that's where Maynard goes, so.
Okay, any other comments, questions for Lyman? Not very good. Thank you, Lyman and Cindy, for filling us in on what's going on.
Thank you.
Very good. Next item is first reading of Ordinance 1061, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waverly, Iowa by repealing Chapter 90 thereof entitled Building Code and enacting and adopting a new Chapter 90 in lieu of entitled Building Code and set a public hearing. To entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of first reading of Ordinance 1061, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of City of Waverly, Iowa by repealing Chapter 90 thereof entitled Building Code and enacting and adopting a new Chapter 90 in lieu of entitled Building Code and setting May 6, 2019 at 7:00 p.m. in the council chambers of City Hall as the date, time, and place for a public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Open it up, Randy. It looks like you have some comments you'd like to pass on.
Well, I'm Randy McKenzie. I'm the building official for Bremer County Building Department. And I'm kind of here to present, see if you have any questions. Our intention is to update the code that we enforce, the building code from the 2012 edition to the 2018. And it's an international code. It's a family of codes. And we, in the past, have typically updated the code every 6 years, which is the code updates every 3 years, but we choose to do every other cycle. A little less money invested in new code books and trying to come up with the knowledge and studying the new codes for enforcement.
Kind of a summary of maybe some of the key changes that may affect this region?
Really not too much as far as significant changes. The one change we are proposing is in the residential code. It's always been in the code in the appendix section, and it's radon mitigation. And we are proposing in this code adoption cycle to adopt the appendix. And all counties in Iowa have a high potential for radon gas. And the language that's in the residential code in the appendix, it's a passive radon system. And it would only be applicable to new residents, new homes. And it's a passive system. We more or less it would require the installation of the radon pipe from below the basement floor up through the attic, up through the roof. And then if the dwelling would test high, then it would be much easier to mitigate because the passive system is in place. It's not requiring that you put in a mitigation system. It just puts the passive system in place so you have it there if you do have to mitigate. The lion's share of the changes in the code language are more administrative, just to update for the new code sections as they change from one edition to the next.
In past adoptions, we have chosen not to require sprinklers in residential homes.
Correct.
I'm assuming that's carrying forward.
We're carrying that forward.
But what do you see regionally and nationally as far as folks exempting out of that requirement?
A lot of the larger cities they've just amended it to limit it to very large square footage homes, which we never see those size of homes. So, and when I thought about amending it to still accept the code requirement to exempt the smaller square footage homes, it really doesn't gain anything. If you amend it, it's just like not adopting it at all. So we really haven't seen a need for the sprinklers in the residential dwellings. So we're proposing just to carry that amendment on through the next edition, similar to previous.
Again, for my other commitment in the city, it's something that it's always hard for me to wrestle with, is we know how they help in multifamily, high-rises, those type of things, and the cost to a residential, when you think about it, isn't all that much. I mean, I think the additions on the smoke detectors, those type of things, have gone a long way to protecting life, but the sprinklers will protect the property on top of that. So I would highly encourage folks to at least consider it as they're looking at new building, at least price it out. I know they've made a lot of progress in recent years as far as reliability and ease of installation and those type of things. So just because it's not required, I would encourage folks to at least think about it.
And code just sets minimums, so a person can always design beyond that.
I think here in Waverly, most sections of town, we've got the water pressure to support it and those type of things.
So are sprinklers required in apartment buildings?
Yes, they are.
Just not, okay.
So I noticed you have a 5% increase in permit fees. Why 5%?
We haven't had a fee increase since 2012, and we're just, the 5% was just a figure that I used, kind of comparing it to our income and our budget, and also looking ahead for the next 6 years, knowing that there would not be an increase in fees for that period of time as well.
What was the percent increase in 2012?
I believe it was 5%.
5% then too. And we would not expect another increase for another 6 years?
Correct.
Okay.
That's something that would have to go to all the governing bodies and approved by resolution, but no intentions of increasing the fees.
So when we change the building code, what's the expectation from on the part of the builders in the city? Are they expected to get a copy of this, or when they do a project, they have to? Is this online? How do they stay current?
Well, the good contractors stay pretty current with it. The ones that tend to do a lot more of the commercial work. I guess it's kind of a partnership with the enforcement and the contractors. We tend to have to kind of work our way into it. Any changes that they may not currently be doing. The international codes are out there. You can purchase them. Most large companies that have a very large staff have access to the codes, and architects definitely keep up with the current codes.
Mike, I can vouch for some of the trade codes. We're licensed by the state, electrical, and every 3 years that license comes up for renewal, and one of the requirements is 18 hours of continuing ed in that 3-year period. And I think the plumbers are that way and things. And some of the education out of the building code comes when the inspector comes around and says, you can't do that like that anymore. But, no.
Yeah, I was assuming they might want to be a little more proactive than that.
Yeah.
That's probably not the best way to learn.
Right.
But, no, it is a partnership between the inspection department and the contractors and things.
I guess I was just on such a way outside of how this works, but so we do the revision. The builders, do they get notified that we've made these changes, or are they pretty much paying attention to what we're doing?
We held a contractors meeting for significant changes in February, and we notified well over 100 contractors through various forms of communication, and we had not quite 30 show up to the meeting. So we do our due diligence to try to bring any significant changes in front of the contractors, and I think they're somewhat familiar with them. They'll learn them as they get to them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Are the building codes in the other municipalities in Bremer County the same as this one? Are they exactly the same? Are they significantly the same? And what about the county areas that are not incorporated?
If we have our way, they're exactly the same. We want them adopted exactly the same throughout all our jurisdictions.
I would think so, yes.
We do the county, and we do Waverly, Janesville, Reedland, Tripola, Denver, and actually we do Dunkerton as well. They had approached us, and the only communities we do not do any enforcement in is Plainfield and Sumner and Frederica. So otherwise, the code is identical through all the communities that we jurisdict in.
And also where our inspection department does not have jurisdiction, the state, there are state inspectors that do. So it's pretty well covered by somebody, anyway. Very good. Any other questions for Randy or discussion?
No, I just would note that I think it's a pretty good collaboration with the county, that we don't have to have our own building inspector, that within the city, that we're able to work with the county to help cover that.
You do. We do it.
How many people on staff, Randy? I mean, just you, or do you have helpers?
There's 2 other inspectors and then 2 ladies in the office as well.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Randy.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
McKenzie?
Yes.
Rafi?
Yes.
Scher?
Yes.
Waldstein?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Drinkow?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
Ordinance 1061, first reading is approved. Second reading of Ordinance 1060, amending the current Waverly TIF Ordinance 1053 in connection with the adoption of Amendment Number 4 to the Waverly Unified Urban Renewal Plan. Would entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of the second reading of Ordinance 1060 as read by the mayor.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Rafi?
Yes.
Scher?
Yes.
Waldstein?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Drinkow?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
McKenzie?
Yes.
Second reading of Ordinance 1060 is hereby approved. Resolution 19-61, a resolution approving the service and maintenance quotes to service the 2 air compressors for the Waverly Inflatable Dam. Would entertain a motion.
Move approval of Resolution 1961, approving the service and maintenance quotes to service the 2 air compressors for the Waverly Inflatable Dam from Ingersoll Rand of Ankeny, Iowa, for the cost of $12,578.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion.
My only comment is it's well worth the money to keep it maintained.
Yes, I think we're all big fans of the inflatable dam now, having been through a high water season.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have anything to add to that discussion?
I agree. I sleep better at night.
Very good. Roll call vote, please.
Sherrick?
Yes.
Holstein?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Drinkow?
Yes.
Angus?
Yes.
McKenzie?
Yes.
Rafi?
Yes.
Resolution 1961, approving service and maintenance quotes for air compressors for the inflatable dam is hereby approved. Brings us to staff comments.
I don't think we have any tonight, sir.
Very good. City Council?
I was mistaken, apparently.
You're a little quick on the draw. We talked about this at staff meeting. This is the first day that the yard waste site is open.
Oh, wow.
So it's now officially spring for public services. Friday afternoons, we have loading services for like wood mulch and compost and those types of things. The site is still a little soft, so we are not going to provide that service this Friday. We will resume those services on Friday, April 12th. So there are people that maybe want trailers of wood mulch loaded or firewood logs. The first day we will provide that is Friday, April 12th.
Mike, is there a spring pickup at all for yard waste curbside?
Yes. Starting April 22nd, we will have 2 weeks for yard waste collection curbside. There's no charge for that. You just use the biodegradable bags put out by the curb, or if you are trimming limbs or hedges, those types of things, as long as it is cut up into more manageable sizes. Ideally, we like to kind of have a bundle, makes it a little easier. Otherwise, if you have old appliances, mattresses, furniture, we are starting to take sign up for special collection of that for the week of April 22nd. You must sign up, you must pay in advance, and we will get that picked up for you the week of April 22nd. Otherwise, street sweepers are out and about. Last week they were working on Bremer Avenue. Now they are moving into the residential neighborhoods this week.
So Mike, on pickup of things like mattresses and appliances, is there a fee schedule that people need to know about?
Yes, it will be, the more common items are listed in the spring newsletter, which should be coming out this week.
Okay, very good. No other staff comments? City Council comments?
I noticed that the Casey's store is nearing completion on 4th Street. And I also noticed that there was no barrier fence or plantings that were being worked on, which was part of the development agreement that we had with Casey's. And I understand that those are probably items that would be the very last things to be placed, particularly plantings. However, I do want to remind the appropriate people that those were items that were very important to the passing of the rezoning. And I would fully anticipate that that the fence, privacy fence, and the plantings would be done preferably prior to the opening of the store, and if not at that time, certainly within a couple of weeks, particularly the plantings, since the spring is going to be the most efficient time of putting in plantings. And waiting till fall or next year or the year after that is certainly not going to be acceptable. So I would expect that Casey's will be held to their agreement, and we'll have a privacy fence up, and we'll have plantings done as per the agreement.
Okay.
I just want to thank the Waverly Fire Department for inviting us to their annual banquet. The mayor, Councilmember Waldstein, Councilmember Scherer, and I were there, and of course, Dan McKenzie was there as a member of the fire department, but they had a very nice gathering, and appreciate us being invited. The entertainment was especially good this year, so want to thank them. and for all their service to the community.
I will once again be at the Wooden Foot for anyone who wants to come and share beer. I think we may have to, maybe we can drown our sorrows about the Iowa basketball game. We'll see.
Unfortunately, that did not turn out the way we would like to have had that. But,
Next score, 74-47.
Cubs are still losing.
Any other council comments? I only have that I would reiterate Dan's comments about the Waverly Fire Department. It was a very good meal, a little formal program to recognize some of the firemen. But the entertainment for about an hour with kind of reliving the 2018 Fireman Convention flood, so to speak, with the ground, that was great. If anyone has a need for stand-up comedians, I believe we can provide some from the fire department, because the guys did a really great job. So with that, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. We are adjourned.